Let's mute the shit out of that.
All right. What is up, evening tokers, afternoon inhalers, and AM hookah smokers? This is the AM Hookah Podcast. Woot woot. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Matt. How the hell are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I don't want to scare anybody. I don't want to scare you, especially Adrian, but I'm having some weird ass technical difficulty stuff going on, and my hair's doing that weird thing that it does sometimes when you put headphones on. So I don't know what's going to happen is what I'm saying. I don't know what is going to happen today, but I think we're going to have a good show. We have a really cool topic that we're going to be discussing. So I'm excited about that. Let me make sure that your levels aren't too high for myself to hear you. My board is acting funky, Adrian. I don't know why.
I don't know. That's how the show goes.
Being at the number one show for technical difficulties in the hookah world, nailed it. Then I think we're fine. I think we're okay. I got to grab my hose that's way the hell over here.
Sweet.
Okay. I'm using the D-hose today. So let's go ahead and get into this. So this is, of course, the AM Hookah Podcast. My name is Matt, your humble host. So happy to join you as always. My wonderful co-host. You notice how I was rambling there in the beginning? The reason why is because not everybody. So I was giving them an opportunity to join because we started a little bit late. My fault. My fault this time, guys. But that's why. But Adrian, my wonderful co-host, how are you doing, man?
I'm tired as shit, Matt. But other than that, I'm doing very, very well. I'm smoking a pretty killer mix. I'll talk about that in a minute. And I just got done editing a bunch of stuff. And now I get to relax and talk about hookah shit, which is all I really want to do anyway. So
yeah, man. I love the guests. I'll be the first person to say that when we get a guest that gets to participate with us, it is super exciting because it's fun to talk back and forth with somebody that you already know about and stuff, but it's always fun to introduce new people into your world, in my opinion. And I'm somebody who I love interaction with people, right? So it's always fun to add more people to interact with. But when me and you get a chance to do a show together, just me and you, I'm super excited for this as well because sometimes it's nice to be intimate. You know what I'm talking about?
It's relaxing. It's chill back, you smoke on your hookah, and you talk about the hookah.
Akeem, super friend of the show, is already here. Thank you so much for joining us. Jessica says, can't be tired, Adrian. Sleep when you're dead. Aggressive, chief.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Scared me. I watched it last night, so I'm more scared now than I should be probably.
The remake or the OG?
The remake, which was not terrible.
I'll say it. I liked it a lot. I like that movie a lot, actually. I thought it was really well done.
You can't beat Tim Curry as being Pennywise, obviously. J-Rock, what's up? Thank you so much for joining us. Akeem said nothing. He just hit enter, I think, or something. Never mind. There's laughing faces. They took a while to show up on my slow-ass piece. You can't beat Tim Curry, obviously, but I thought the guy that did it did a good enough job that did not make me hate him, which I think is important.
Yeah. Right? Well, the way Tim Curry did it was so good that you can't go in trying to do it like Tim Curry did it. It's not possible. So he did his own thing, and it worked. I thought it worked really well.
I thought he did a pretty good job too. Like I said, it was much better than I expected. Moving on to because we can't talk about that stuff yet. We haven't even got to the show properly yet. So let's go ahead and talk about our smoking setups to actually start the show. And everybody in the chat, please let us know what you guys are smoking as well. J-Rock, I saw that you sent me something. I have not had an opportunity to check it. I'm trying to be dedicated to the show and not look at my phone while it's going off or anything. That even goes for my wife. My wife, I tell her all the time, I said, honey, text me. I probably won't see it or check it, but let me know that you're not in trouble so when the show's over, I can come rescue you if I need to. Putting it on mute right now, but let's go ahead and get into our thoughts of what we are actually smoking. Adrian, what are you smoking today, man?
I'm smoking all kinds of cool shit. Set up first, I've got the Alchemist Initiate set up at the second smallest setting. I took that bell off of it, so that's what that looks like. I've got the Derek Moses custom hose with the Like Smoke Hookah custom pipe dream hookah hose, B2 mouth tip flick, the Goodfella V4 bowl foil, 3 titanium flats, and inside. Oh, yeah, tap water in the base. And inside my bowl, I have a 50-50 max mix of Messiah Lemon Mint and Messiah Watermelon Mint, and it is just awesome.
When was the first time you ever heard somebody when they were doing their setup video, they said, and I got tap water in the vase?
Why? That was a joke. That's some OG shit. I don't know why people ever said that in the first place.
I don't know why either. Like, unless you're like doing something bizarre with your water, I don't think it ever needs to be said.
Right.
J Rock says it's pictures of me packing the flying saucer bowl. I think I think I should pull that up on my phone right now. What do you think?
I think so. Put it on the screen. Is that possible, or did he text it to you?
It's not immensely possible, but I'll probably just do this sort of thing type scenario.
Oh yeah, that's real nice and grindy, kind of boho style. No technology at all.
We're rocking it. It's loading right now. Here we go. J Rock is talking to us, and he's got it. He's got it in his hand. J Rock, I'm sorry if you didn't want to be on the picture.
Yeah, welcome to the AM Hookah Podcast. Our guest today is J Rock.
Yes,
and he's going to show us how to pack the flying saucer bowl.
Oh, he's doing some AF though. He's doing some AF golden and AF regular. Let's see what the next one is. This is going to leave us like on the edge, basically. Everyone that's listening to the audio version, go and check out the YouTube channel right now, because we're going to see J Rock actually pack the flying saucer bowl, or he might just be showing it off. Akeem is smoking out of his new KM hookah. Akeem and his D hose with some AF watermelon in an 80 feet 80. I got some.
You're just smoking straight watermelon, huh? That's hard for me. I tend to go to their watermelon men. I find the watermelon to be abrasive. Good for you.
I don't think he packs it. I think he just took a picture of it. It looked like. J-Rock, let me know, because I tried to watch your video. It didn't look like you were actually packing it. You pulled out the 80 feet bowl. So I'm assuming that's what you actually landed up using. Let us know in the chat. But you saw it. He had it in his hand. He actually owns a flying saucer bowl. I need to get that in my collection now that I think about it.
I don't know if you heard about this. Maybe we can talk about this, but Hookah John just released a new bowl too.
I did not see that. What?
We'll talk about it in a little bit, unless you want me to get into it right now.
I want to talk about what I'm doing. I'm gonna show off my rig, because I don't do the cool thing that you do, which I need to start doing, where you can see the rig in the back. This is gonna make you proud, Akeem. I did not do this on purpose with you or nothing. I am smoking out of
single pair.
I am smoking out of my black single pair KM hookah.
Oh,
Mason Bowl Phoenix HMD. Where's Tristan when we need him?
Oh man, you know it's a bummer. Eric can't join us. He's actually on a flight right now, but he says he's here in spirit. If you're wondering,
I was wondering about him, because he's very good at always hanging out with us, obviously. So yeah, and the tobacco that I'm using is Tangier's passion fruit mixed with double dark mint from Lavu. And this mix, man, it's been what I've been smoking mainly. Partly because I have nothing else to smoke right now. I am so low on tobacco, Adrian. It's kind of a sad story, but super excited, because I should be getting some cool stuff that we'll be talking about in the future in just a moment. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what happened last week between us, and maybe let's talk about some bowl stuff as well. This would be a good time to throw some of that other stuff thrown in there. Oh, also Sid said morning to us, so evening, Sid, or / morning to you. So let's see what happened last week. What did you do last week? Did you do anything exciting, Adrian?
well, as usual, I do all kinds of stuff for my personal channel, and that's where I kind of derive my entertainment from usually. Let's see. Last week, non-hookah related, the only thing I can think of that I did last week is I played a ton of Breath of the Wild, and I watched a crap load of old school Super Mario World speedruns. I don't know why, I was just feeling like it. So I did that. And then when I wasn't doing that, I was shooting a few reviews that just went up, as well as some stuff that's going to be coming out. Is this an appropriate time to talk about some of the reviews I did? I'm just going to do it anyway, because you're playing.
Go right ahead. Let's throw it in whenever. Fuck it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
Sweet. Recently, I just did a Haze Bananarama review, which Matt has been very resistant to talk about, because I know you're not a big fan of banana flavors. But check that review out when you get a chance, Matt. I think you'll be interested to try it after you see that.
Banana bread.
Yeah. I actually alluded to the fact that I didn't think banana muffins were a thing, and then Jessica actually reminded me that banana nut muffins are a thing, and I felt like an idiot. So thanks, Jessica. And
Jessica actually just said not smoking yet, but I have gotten a gift from TPE. I'm going to try. It's like a new alfalfa or something called 7. It's supposed to be a passion fruit and grapefruit, and it's got a trippy container. I hope to see a picture of that real soon. And then J-Rock
very cool.
J-Rock's actually smoking a KM hookah as well. He's smoking out of his oxidized hookah on, of course, the Flying Saucer with AF watermelon fresh mint and using the droid hose. And I have my lovely friend with me, so we're using the splitter as well. In the holes, she is using the Thunder V2 dark hose neon. Very, very awesome setup. We're smoking
Hell
KM.
yeah.
Where are you, Adrian?
Where am I?
Where's your
I don't-
KM?
I don't know. All 4 of my cams are dirty.
Oh, you dirty son of a gun. You
Yeah.
dirty. Okay.
I should clean. And then the other review, this one I'm actually kind of excited to talk a little bit about. I launched this new show, and I don't know how well it's going to be received. I don't know if there's going to really be an audience for it, but I'm going to just do it for a few months and see if it's something people want to see. But it's this new kind of a hookah news show, just talking about stuff that happened in the industry as well as the community over like the week. Drops on Fridays, and it's called The Pipeline. It's in beta right now because I have no clue how to arrange that show at all. But yeah, I dropped that. It's like 10 minutes, and it's just talking about some cool stuff. Rob from Dude Brews My Hookah was nice enough to be a like correspondence type deal with me and send me some stuff that was happening at TPE since I'm in Michigan and I couldn't make it this year. And talking about the Phoenix a little bit, and I also do shout outs to reviews that were dropped that week. So if you ever miss anything in your YouTube feed, you can always check out The Pipeline because I go over all the reviews that I know that were dropped. There's links to that in the description. And to top it off, El Fakir Series number 8 was just dropped 20 minutes before this started, and it's on El Fakir Berry. So there you go, Matt.
Can't wait.
That's for you.
Watch that tonight. Super excited too. I've been waiting to hear your thoughts and opinions. I don't even want to talk about it now because I want to go into it dry before I go and watch it. So I know I want to either get instantly angry when I hear you talk about it or just like be sobbing with joy, basically. So we'll see what happens.
Cool.
Very awesome. I did some pretty fun stuff this last weekend. I did a show. I played a live show at a coffee shop local to me, about 40, 50 minutes away from where I live. And I had a great time doing the show. It was an acoustic set that I put together, and I played for a little bit over an hour. You can actually find that on my Facebook feed if you wanted to watch it. And I played a bunch of music. I'm very much of a folky rock style kind of music with my acoustic guitar, and I had a blast singing. So it's been a long time. I felt rusty, but I am picking up momentum. I'm going to start playing a lot more. So if you do follow any of my personal stuff, either on Twitter or on Facebook, you'll talk about that kind of stuff a ton more, because that is a goal of mine in 2018, is to play a lot more live shows. I love doing it. I don't do it nearly enough, so I'm getting back into the groove of doing it.
That is awesome. Once upon a time, I used to play live music too, but right now I'm concentrating on, all this cool YouTube stuff. But that's awesome, man. Good for you.
I saw you play some live music. You shared some with me. It was very, very
cool. Yeah.
And then also I watched the Super Bowl last night. Did you watch the Super Bowl at all? Did any of your friends rope you into it, is what I would assume?
The only football I care about is the kind you play with your feet. No, I didn't watch the Super Bowl.
It was a really fun game for anyone that did watch Super Bowl. Go Eagles. I know that Hookah-Shisha actually did a bunch of green stuff for sale because the Eagles won, which I thought was kind of a fun idea. If the Patriots won, they probably would just sell a bunch of trash. I don't know. I don't know how that works exactly. I'm hitting hard on those angry Patriots fans basically right now. But yeah, so last week was a fun and exciting time, but we have a lot of fun and exciting stuff to talk about on this show right here. Let's get into some bowl talk, actually. Let's go ahead and talk about that. You said Hookah John dropped a new bowl. Let's hear what you saw exactly.
Okay, so here's what I've gathered from the little live he did earlier today for anyone who missed it. I know we got a pretty tight-knit group of people that watch this show, and you guys are just about as into the industry as we are, so maybe you've seen it. But for the one of you who maybe didn't, it's called, I think it's called so this is for Matt. You guys probably already know. But it's called the Unica Bowl, I think is what he calls it. And it's a budget bowl because John was talking about the raising costs of American clay and labor in America, because a lot of these bowls, in fact, most of the bowls we use in the market, including this Goodfella V4, are made in America by a handful of different bowl creators. Like the Goodfella V4, it's made by 5 Star, but a lot of people know at this point it's made by Alpaca Bowls. Hookah John's one of the other big bowl creators, and he's got a lot of the bowls we were actually talking about, the 80 feet, the 80 feet 80, the Flying Saucer, and a ton of other ones. But this Unica Bowl, I think is what it's called, is a budget bowl, and it actually comes in at $13.99 is what he sells them for. Yeah, it's a very good price. And to me, what it looks like is an old school first gen 80 feet bowl with slightly thicker walls, and it's only glazed halfway down with a very simple one-note glaze to keep the cost down and to keep the cost of production down. It's much quicker to make them that way when it's just one simple dip and they use less glaze. And the bowl stand's a little bit taller than the 80 feet, but a little bit shorter than the Harmony. And like I said, $13.99. I'm going to pick one up just to see how it goes, maybe do a review on it. But I'm pretty interested that John has, he's introduced a bowl made of American clay to the American market for a price point that's under $15. I know the Bordello Bowl was kind of a fudge that he did and sold for $10, but that was like a limited series. This looks like it's going to be a new bowl to his regular line of bowls. And I hope that a lot of other bowl creators follow suit and maybe introduce something a little bit more budget friendly, because a lot of people are put off by that $25 starting price for a lot of the American bowls.
I would not be surprised. Hookah John definitely has a big influence in the industry, and him putting out a bowl under $15, I think, will inspire a lot of bowl makers to go ahead and put out some $15 bowls. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, actually. Like that would not surprise me at all to see other people latch on to a budget price for their bowls and stuff. So I think that'll be exciting to see in the future what comes of that. But I actually have some pretty cool bowl news as well, believe it or not. Now, Sahara Smoke, they're the originators and procurers of the Vortex style of bowls. I know J-Rock knows exactly what I'm talking about right now. But besides their ceramic bowls that they came out with a long time ago, they've been doing the stone Vortex bowl. Now, you know about the stone Vortex bowls, right? Right, Adrian?
Yeah, honestly, it's probably the best product that Sahara Smoke makes.
Now, for the longest time, when they were doing their stone bowls, they were sending them out and they were getting them made and then getting them sent back to themselves, and then they were selling them. So they're sending it out, getting it back, selling. That's what they're doing. So now they're going to do some different stuff with their stones Vortex bowls. They're actually going to make them in-house at the Sahara Smoke, which I thought was pretty cool. Well, one of the guys from Sahara Smoke actually contacted me, and he's going to be sending me one of these stone Vortex bowls that they made in-house from their first batches, and it should be here within a couple of days. So not this show, obviously, but on the next show, I should be talking about a stone Vortex bowl. So I'm pretty excited about that. I have not used a Vortex bowl in a very long time, and I've heard nothing but great things about the stone Vortex bowl that they do. So I'm super excited to hear about to try the improvements that a stone Vortex bowl actually adds to the mix. So expect that and a review for it as well on the channel in the coming weeks and stuff. And lots of me posting about it in Facebook and Instagram and all that kind of stuff as well. So that's exciting, I think.
Yeah, it's very cool. Do you know when those are going to be up for sale?
I think they're up for sale now, actually. Like they're
wow.
So you should be able to find them. They have a very pretty glaze on them. They're very thick clay. They're all handmade in-house, like I said. And when I was talking to the guy, actually, he was actually waiting for his kiln to cool down enough so that he could show me some pictures of them. So he was in the process of the final steps of making them as he was talking about sending one to me. So that's pretty exciting. We got some movement going on in the chat. Akeem says Stone Vortex Bowl sounds very cool. They've done them for a while, and I've never tried them, but I know Owen Barry, for instance, loves the Stone Vortex bowls. He has nothing but good things to say about them. So that's exciting to hear about what the hype is for him as well. And then Jessica says that she might be going live tonight about her new flavor called 7. I want to see this trippy container that she's talking about as well. So I'm excited. If you do go live, I'll try to, tag me in that so I can see it. And Akeem says KM for life because, yes, KM for life, Akeem. Yes, that's true. Very true.
Yeah, it's such a shame that KMs have fallen out of a lot of people's radars, because that and Sheikahs are probably the best places to go when you only have, say, 100 bones to spend on a full setup. That's where I point anyone that asks me, like, hey, I want to spend $100. What can I get? You want a whole setup? Buy a KM Beast. You can get the whole setup for $85. It's going to be an awesome hookah. Comes with an Egyptian bowl. You can just smoke out of that for like months without having to change anything about your setup.
Pretty cool. Going back, a lot of times back in the day, the only things that you would really want to invest in were KMs and Sheikahs and stuff of that sort. Now we have all these other lines of stuff, the Prometheus and the Initiate and B2. Like there's lots of really expensive exotic hookahs and stuff like that. And even when it comes to bowls, as we've talked about multiple times on this show, obviously, It's cool to see all the movement that's forward in the industry at all times. But it's also exciting because it gives the opportunity for known brands such as like Sahara Smoke with their Vortex Bowl to step up their game and offer something different and bigger about it. So that's always exciting as well, in my opinion. So more talk about that, but let's go ahead and just get into it. Let's get into the topic of the show. If you are joining us in the chat as well, joining us live, please let us know. Say hello. Let us know what you're smoking. And yeah, if you have any questions about the stuff that we're going to be talking about, because this is gonna be a fun conversation, Adrian. I'm going to let you take the reins real quick and go ahead and drive us into the topic of the show this week.
Okay, so today, Matt and I were talking about, hey, what are we going to talk about for the 5th episode of season 1? Because we wanted to break it up, not have a guest, because having a guest is really fun and cool. But when we don't have a guest, like Matt was saying, it's really nice to just sit down, chat, spend more, put more attention into the actual chat, talk with you guys. I think that's kind of the reason we do this show over anything else. And thinking, what should we do for a topic? And one thing that's really been on my mind a lot lately is cloud output versus flavor intensity. And I do think there is a relationship between the two. And I think if you change one of those variables, it's going to change the other in some way or another. So yeah, that's what we're going to be just chatting about that a little bit, maybe talking about some of the things you can do in your setup to change the restriction of your draw or to change your flavor intensity. And yeah, we're going to be talking about that for a little bit. So if anyone has any input or questions, or just want to say something completely unrelated to this topic of conversation, go ahead and put that in the chat.
To start it off, I'd like to ask you, what do you aim for in your sessions? Do you aim for better flavor or better clouds in your session?
Clouds are awesome. I think that most of us really enjoy blowing just huge, enormous clouds. It's really the most interesting thing to look at when you're looking at a lot of the hookah content. You watch someone's Facebook post or their review or whatever, and they're blowing gigantic clouds. You're like, wow, that's cool because it's visually pleasing. But when you're actually smoking, after you get over that initial first few months of smoking, you're like, oh, these clouds are cool. You start to realize that like clouds are cool, but I really would like some flavor out of my session. And after, a few years of smoking, I really try to find this happy medium between getting decent cloud output, but what's most important is I will sacrifice any amount of cloud output for a good flavor profile. I don't know if you ever smoked Zagul, Matt, but I sometimes smoke Zagul. And
really? Do you smoke it with pure coals on the tobacco and the whole 9 yards, or
coals on tobacco on an Egyptian bowl?
I want to see a video of this.
I'm going to do a video on it soon. Actually, that's coming down the pipeline. But pipe dream hookah. Go there. But yeah, I think that a lot of us probably move towards looking for flavor intensity over clouds in time.
Rob, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you stopping by. We're going to be talking about cloud output versus flavor output. Jessica actually says, real talk, my husband just wants clouds and won't just sit back and enjoy a flavor if the clouds aren't over the top. So that's exactly what we're trying to dive into with this at the moment. I think when we all start smoking hookah, I don't know, how long has your husband been smoking for? I'd be interested to know, is it something that he picked up recently with you maybe or something, or have you guys both been smoking for a large amount of time? But I think in the beginning, the majority of us, when we smoke, the flavor's exciting and we want the flavor to be there, but clouds are definitely the number one thing when we first start smoking hookah that we're interested in, for the same reasons like you just said. It's visually pleasing. It's the first thing that catches your eye. When I watch Dude Where's My Hookah reviews on YouTube, I'm always impressed with the cloud output. Exactly. They're just those giant nimbus clouds are awesome, obviously. Team says balance the cloud with flavor for the best session. I would agree. I think as you get older and more mature, the clouds become less enjoyable in the sense that you care more about them and you want the flavor to really be top notch. And then once you get that flavor profile the way that you want it, then you really, really start shooting to get everything balanced to the perfect amount. Rob just said, I was on the cloud chasing for years until I got it down, and now it's a mix of both is what he aims for, obviously. I think the majority of us are the same way, especially when it comes to things like Tangiers. I think that'd be a good place to start, because Tangier is obviously known worldwide for their clouds, right? Like, you get Tangiers, you're expecting to get these massive clouds that are unlike anything else, especially in the beginning stages and stuff. And then slowly you realize, oh, wait. Tangiers also has like some flavor. Have you ever come across a brand for you that you've noticed that something is better, that is better cloud output than your flavor output, and then vice versa, better flavor output than your cloud output?
Yeah, I have noticed that certain brands are kind of cloud chaser friendly. One of those is, I think that Haze can produce some pretty good sized clouds. I think there was a lot of hype in the beginning about Haze having the best clouds ever, and I tend to disagree with that. If you can pack certain tobaccos like Tangiers the right way, I think you can pull better clouds out of those. But for me, brands like Haze, some of the flavors are great. Don't get me wrong. Like the Banana Rama, I just did a review on that. That has a really good flavor profile. But for the most part, if I'm going to pack a bowl of Haze, I actually do kind of lean towards trying to get max cloud output. I don't usually pack Haze, and when I do it, it's because I have a bunch of friends coming over, and I just want to show off. Just like, oh, my friends are coming over, I'm going to just make the room a smokehouse. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I definitely will smoke more Tangiers and such when I'm hanging out with friends, because I know I'm going to get their attention with the cloud output of it, especially. Haze, through the stuff that I've tried, I've definitely noticed that it is cloud chaser friendly. It takes a lot of heat, so you're able to really pound it on there and get these big old clouds if you really want to. And while the flavors are very good, I would say that Haze really kind of teeters that line of being a cloud tobacco more than a flavor tobacco, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Rob just said that he's recording a new video and he hopes he doesn't let us down. I know Rob will not let us down. Jessica says, or no, somebody else. Never mind. I lost where I was looking at the moment, actually. Sorry. But when it comes to getting both cloud and flavor output, I think one of the ones that I would definitely be aiming for and talking about heavily would be Trifecta. Trifecta does a great job of getting that flavor intensity and that cloud that you're looking for almost every single time. I mean, I really don't think that there's been a flavor that has let me down when it came to intensity of the flavor and then the ability to get big old clouds and stuff like that.
Especially in their dark line.
Yes, they're a dark line for sure. Most dark leaf tobaccos you're going to get good clouds from, and also good flavor for a lot of times. I think one flavor or one brand that would be worth talking about in this talk would be like something like Messiah. What are your thoughts when it comes to cloud output versus flavor profile when it comes to Messiah?
Depends on the flavor, because Messiah, like a lot of brands, I tend to compare Messiah to Alfakar because they both have an insane amount of flavors on the market, and they have just about as many hits as they do misses. Relative to each other. I think most of them make mostly good flavors, but I think you understand what I'm saying. But
got my lid stuck on my Phoenix right now.
that is a thing that happens with the Phoenix, unfortunately.
Especially when it's like far away and I'm like trying to like reach over to get it taken care of.
Yeah, I usually just set my Phoenix and concede to the fact that I'm just going to be leaving it there for an hour and a half. But with Messiah, like this mix I'm smoking right now, which is half watermelon mint, half lemon mint, there's a lot of flavor in both the watermelon mint and the lemon mint. And I really like that. That's actually why I mixed them. So I actually have my setup set up in a way where I'm actually going for flavor versus cloud output. I'm pulling decent clouds. I mean, I need to put the wind cover on. I actually started smoking 25 minutes before the podcast started, so we're almost at an hour, but...
Are you smoking on straight foil then? Just coals on foil?
Yeah, so the way I've got my setup done is it is just coals on foil. And I'm going to let you talk in a second and grab my wind cover because it could use it. But I've got my water level raised to about 1.5 inches over the bottom of the downstem, which does create a little bit of restriction, but not in a way that I think is going to make your flavor profile any better. That's just personal preference. I think a lot of where you're going to get your restriction from is going to be in the way you pack your bowl, the gauge of your downstem, and the gauge of your hose. And in my experience, it has to be consistent. You can't just make one small choke point and expect to get good flavor, because I think you need a little bit of condensing throughout the entire pathway for the smoke. So like you can't just throw a mouth tip in your hose and expect the flavor profile to instantly become like twice as rich. I don't think that's something that you could do. But like this initiate has a semi-restricted draw to it, and then this hose actually has a pretty restricted draw to it. The way that Derek makes these, he actually has to use a smaller bore of the silicone hose, the surgical grade silicone, than the D-hose does to actually get this wrap to work correctly and not look obnoxious. Same with the handle and the mouth tip. and I've got it packed pretty high, and I only have holes over the tobacco. So the way I've got this set up is I am sacrificing a little tiny bit of cloud output because nothing's really wide open. But the flavor profile is just through the roof. It tastes exactly like I was hoping it would. This awesome lemon zest with like this really bright watermelon, and they both have mint in the flavor, so it's a little bit cold too.
Which is crazy because I'm actually doing the exact opposite of you. I'm using a KM, which is known for a very wide open draw. And then I'm using this Droid hose, which is also known for a very wide open draw. And then I'm using the Mason Bowl, which has a pretty decent sized spire, along with the Phoenix, which obviously, since I'm not using any foil of any kind, I'm just getting that straight shot of air that goes through that funnel part of it straight down into it. So it's continuously giving me really, really good airflow throughout it. So I'm smoking the exact opposite of yours. You're going to go grab your wind cover? Yeah, go right ahead. And I think that that's one thing that we'll touch on when he gets back is the ability to kind of make some changes, to do things to give yourself a little bit of a restriction, such as raising your water level a little bit. Because if you're pulling a little bit stronger and harder on your pull because of the water level, you can cause that to make a little bit more strength in it, which makes obviously sense because of restriction and how physics work and stuff like that. It's not complete bro science, maybe just a little bit, but it does affect it just ever so slightly. Now, you guys in the chat, J-Rock says, Haze Tobacco, you're blowing nothing but stormtrooper clouds, which is a very, very true, obviously. Rob, if you're still in the chat, where do you, what are some tobaccos that you smoke out of more wanting a flavor or more wanting of cloud? So, you know, Tangiers, I've definitely got to the point where I know what I'm going to get when it comes to smoking with Tangiers. So I enjoy the fact that I'll get the big clouds with it. When it comes to smoking something like Alfacher and such, I'm willing to cut back on my ability to get huge clouds. Alfacher obviously going to give you fine clouds as well, but the flavor is what you're really aiming for when it comes to smoking Alfacher. Like, you're gonna sacrifice those clouds. I don't need to. I think somebody could easily watch this and say, well, you can have both. You can have big clouds and you can have full flavor. Of course you can. That's not what we're talking about in this. We're talking about the fact that you will always gravitate towards one of them. You know, you do a really good job, Adrian, in your reviews when you talk about reviewing the flavor profile. What's the important thing about smoking your hookah tobacco? And it's the flavors that you're getting. I mean, even if you're cloud, you still don't want it to like burnt trash when you're smoking.
Yeah, I try to frame it when I'm doing those cuts as everyone's favorite part of the review is the cloud, but the most important part of the review is the flavor. And I think that's pretty, I think that after like 6 months to a year of smoking, most people gravitate to that mentality. I know there's going to be outliers. Like my roommate, he obviously smokes a lot because I live here. And but he just likes clouds. He could smoke air flavor as long as it's blowing fat clouds. He doesn't really give a crap.
That's how I feel about vapors. People that like to vape. All their flavors to me taste the exact same. It's just like a sweet candy flavor, which I don't mind because I like sweet candy flavors. But at the same time, it just seems to me like it's much more about the cloud output. You know, they're always trying to shoot for those big old clouds and stuff like that. We got a new person that just joined us in the chat. Well, his name is, I think it's Bracken. Is that how you pronounce your name? It's not Brandon. It's Bracken. And he says level is his favorite way of opening up or shutting down the airflow. It's pretty simply and easily by just putting in a little bit less or a little bit more water and stuff. You definitely want to hit that exact amount. J-Rock says that he just ordered a shitload of Messiah South Smoke. I think from South Smoke is what he
Good call.
I hope
South Smoke was the first vendor to actually get Messiah in. Everyone else has followed suit since, but they've actually had it for a minute now.
I hope you got the kiwi lemon flavor because I was a big fan of the kiwi lemon. I wish I had more of that because it was such a good flavor, personally, I thought. I wanted to talk about flavors profiles when they come to flavor intensity and cloud output, because to me, when it comes to something like a mint, right? Mints are strong flavors. So you don't really necessarily worry about the intensity of your flavor because you know you're going to get it almost no matter how much heat you put on it. So you're okay with chasing clouds when it comes to a mint flavor because you're going to have a strong mint flavor almost regardless of what it is you're smoking.
I agree. Oh, quick question about Bracken's question to you, because I didn't get on this when I was talking about the way I set this session up, but he was talking on using your water level to set restriction. And I noticed that contrary to what we were talking about, you actually can get, I don't know about larger clouds, but potentially denser clouds by having a higher water level. Have you noticed that?
I've always been very much the same water level type of guy. I've never experimented or used too much of that. I know that Zach said that too recently, where he says that he'll raise his water level to help with the density of the clouds because it's more compact. It would make sense in that bro science kind of way because you're leaving less room. So the amount of cloud output, if you're getting the same amount of cloud output, right, as you would with this large, then you're going to get that same amount of cloud output with this large, but you're going to condense that smoke into a smaller area. So when you finally take that draw, you're going to inhale all that denser smoke at one time. So it would make sense to me, but I've never personally experimented with it as well.
I think bro science is the perfect word to use for that.
Yeah, bro science, our favorite style of science, obviously. J-Rock says coals on the top of the foil is the best. What do you think about that? What does using an HMD versus coals on top of your foil by itself, what are you going to change in your session based on that?
So we're talking about the way you set your session up, or cloud output versus flavor. Can you rephrase the question?
Yeah, it's just, are you going to get a better flavor if you use a HMD, or are you going to get a better flavor if you use coals on your foil directly?
If we're talking pure flavor, I don't think you can get anything better than the direct heat of coals on foil. But I think this is just my opinion. I'm not a big HMD fan. I use them because people want to know about them. So I think it's important to put as much information about there that there is to put out there that I can. So I play with them. I've noticed that I can get pretty wicked clouds with a Lotus, but I can never quite get it up to that flavor intensity that I like, and that might be user error. There's people out there that can use Lotus way better than I can.
I have noticed that since my time of starting to use HMDs, the Mia HMD, and then also like the Phoenix HMD and stuff like that, not counting the Apple on top, because that is definitely more of just a tool to use with your foil, in my opinion. But I have noticed that when I use my HMD, subtle flavor notes will come through a little bit better in comparison to stronger flavor notes. So I was using, I smoked a lot of the Azure brand tobacco with my Mia HMD when I had it. And I noticed that I was getting better subtle notes in my tobaccos in comparison. And I enjoyed that quite a bit. It was something a little bit different than I was used to smoking with, even though my cloud output wasn't ginormous at the time. I was getting these more subtle flavors. Like the blue melon was a really good flavor to do that with, because I got both that melon flavor and that mint flavor with it. And I felt like it was a different tasting experience throughout it. I know that Trifecta, for instance, the guy that runs Trifecta Hookah Pro on Facebook, he recommends that when you smoke Trifecta, use coals on your foil, because getting better flavor session with intensity. Which I will say that going off of the dark flavors that I've had, which is quite a few now, I would agree with that. I mean, the lemon, boy, when I smoked lemon from Trifecta, if I use the coal on just the tobacco and on just the foil, that lemon flavor is just monstrous, man. It's cray cray.
Absolutely. You know what? On a side note to that, I wish they would release a lemon mint in their dark line.
Maybe one day we'll see that.
I'm hoping so. Yeah.
Bracken
did say that he notices different flavors when he uses an HMD. I think you might have been touching on that a little bit.
I was. And
I think certain, like you were saying, Trifecta is a brand that does it. I think most brands, you can actually put the focus on different notes in a flavor profile with an HMD. And Zach from Strictly Shisha, he talks a lot about that in some of his reviews he does when he's using an HMD versus foil. He's pretty thorough about that. So I'd go check that out if you're interested in some of that information.
For sure. So going through a few more things, we touched on it a little bit, but what are your preferences? Like we talked about what we were searching for and what we were going for back in the day and stuff like that, but like, where do you sit? Where are you at completely today? Like, are you happy with getting minimal clouds, better flavor, or are you better getting larger clouds, minimal flavor? Where do you sit at more?
So I smoke alone usually. And when I'm smoking alone, I'm not trying to showboat for my friends. I'm not going to lie. When my friends are over, I'm like, let's make clouds. But typically, I'm smoking alone. I care so much more about flavor intensity. Now, I think once you get to a certain point of like learning how different brands work and how to pack them, you can get decent clouds. You can always get like clouds that look good. But I never go for those like enormous, they fill the room, dude, where's my hookah clouds? Although I'm confident that Rob can get both. I think he gets those clouds and flavor. I don't know how he does that. I can't do it. But yeah, I lean very far in the direction of I want the flavor profile to be good, because at the end of the day, that's really why I think a lot of us smoke hookah, especially when it comes to Tangiers. Most of their flavors have that tobacco note, and I hunt that down viciously. That's why I smoke so much Tangiers, because I want that. I look for it, I find it, I corner it, I kill it, and I eat it.
Okay, a hunter over here. I see how you go, Mr. Hunter.
Yeah.
I I completely agree with you, man. When I'm smoking alone, relaxing, watching a movie, just evening smoking and stuff like that, I will smoke longer by myself than I do with friends, because I will taste the tobacco longer after the clouds have died down a little bit, and I'm more than happy to keep on smoking on that. I do want a certain level of clouds. Would you agree? Like, you kind of aim for a certain barrier of entry for your clouds to know that you're having a really good session, you know?
Yeah,
It,
absolutely. You don't want wispy clouds, because that's just, who wants that? It's
yeah,
disappointing.
absolutely annoying. In the time that I've had this Phoenix HMG, I've had some really good sessions with it. I've had some mediocre sessions with it. And the best sessions that I've had with it are definitely times where I taste the tobacco very well and I get these really nice full body clouds as well out of it at the same time. And it's definitely very fulfilling in that sense, where I've had sessions where I will have like decent, like not decent flavor at all, like really, really nasty tasting, like these like really nice clouds and stuff. And instantly I'm just like, this is just no fun. I mean, I'm not smoking with anybody. I don't need these clouds to be here at the moment. I just want my flavor and I want to relax. So it's just something a little bit different. J Rock says, I did get the kiwi lemon and he's dying to try it. Have you had the kiwi lemon, Adrian?
No, like I said, I get it from my local shop and I get a good price on it. I saw it, I almost grabbed it, but because I buy so much lemon mint from them, they've started to carry the kilos of lemon mint, and I went in with a $50 budget. So I was like, I'm gonna get 250 of the watermelon mint and a whole fucking kilo of lemon mint. And that's what I did. I'm gonna go back and get it next weekend, I think.
Very, very awesome. I think it's worth trying for sure. It definitely has a very unique taste all upon itself. Um, Now going into, we've talked a lot about our preference and stuff and everything now. Um, what are some, is there any, I'm sorry, I'm like super, yeah, there we go.
There
I'm
you
trying
go.
to get back into focus, but it was making me feel dizzy for a second. But, what are, what are some of the things so we talked a little bit about, some of the stuff that you did to make your session a little more restrictive. What are some of the things that you do to get yourself a more wide open draw to get some bigger clouds?
Oh yeah. So sometimes, like I said, friends are coming over. It's time to put the thunderclouds out. What I'll do is I'll take my water level all the way down to just barely a half an inch above the bottom of the downstem. That's going to create very little restriction from your water level. I'll use probably not the initiate, because I wouldn't say this is a restricted pipe. It doesn't have a traditional draw, but it has this happy medium between traditional and open. And if I want huge clouds, I'm going open. So I'll pull out the aviator, is usually what I lean towards, because that thing's got a gigantic bore. And then I will use a wide open hose. I don't always use this hose, but if I want to make the hugest clouds, I actually use this hose in my Alfacher Berry review I just dropped. I use this thing. This is the Thunder Pro hose, and it's just gigantic. And and then I'll pack on the heat. I'll almost select a brand that I know will produce good clouds and won't burn if I pack on heat. Mazai is one of those brands that if you pack on a ton of heat, you'll lose a little bit of that flavor intensity, but it won't really ever taste burnt. It'll just it'll be a little warm, but the clouds are just insane. And that's typically what I'll do for a really cloudy session. I'll also lean more towards like Messiah. I find that you can do like a semi-dense pack for flavor, but if you fluff it to just above the rim and then foil it while it's fluffed above the rim to let it press the tobacco down with just a little bit of foil contact, the clouds are better and the flavors worse. So I'll do things like that to kind of adjust between a flavor session versus a cloud session.
Very nice.
What about you?
I'm trying to think of what I do, because I smoke pretty rarely with friends nowadays. I smoke way more by myself and stuff. But I definitely, when I go over to a buddy's house and I'm looking to smoke with them, and I know that they're going to want to get some big old clouds, I'll bring one of my nicer hookahs, such as like my Carbon One or one of my KM hookahs and stuff, because I know that we're going to get a much better draw in session with that. Where in sense, I use those hookahs when I'm alone as well, but I'll aim to bring those kinds of things out with me. I use like my Mia hose a lot more at home by myself, because I find a little bit of a more restricted draw that they offer. Not completely, but a little bit more. And Yeah, right now I'm down on smoking hookah tobacco, but normally, like when I go to smoke with friends, I mainly just bring trifecta, or I just bring my 10 years with me, because that's going to be a very big outlier for the session that we're going to have. Is we're going to have larger clouds and a crazier flavor time as well. I wanted to take a little bit of time and also talk about some of the cool stuff that we have going on in the future, not just guests, but also upcoming shows. And I think we've ran about as far as we can with our topic. What do you think, Adrian?
Yeah, I don't think this is something we can talk about in too much length. I just thought, it'd be an interesting point of conversation to kind of stir up some chat in the chat and everything. But yeah, it's not insanely difficult to understand. So I think we're about there as far as this topic goes.
If you guys got anything else you want to say in the chat, please do that, and we will chat about that. J-Rock, we actually missed a question of yours last week. I can't remember what it is now. So if you have something you want to bring up again, please do that so we don't miss you this time. But now going on to some cool stuff in the future, we have a couple of episodes planned out that I'm very excited to say that we're going to be able to do. We're going to do a Tangiers episode in the future. I'm working very hard to get the one and only Hookah Frank, to join us on the show as well, which I'm super excited if we can get him on here. Also looking to have Hookah Nuka Eric come and join us as well, which we've talked a little bit about. And then we're also working to do an all episode about Shika hookahs as well, which I'm hoping will happen in the future, and that's some exciting stuff. Let's see, we got some stuff going on in chat, it looks like. Oh, Tristan, you're here. Took you a little while. It's okay, man. Don't worry. You can always watch the show after the fact, which you might have to, because I brought your name up a couple of times. I'm using my Mason bowl because it is Mason Monday, obviously. I'm sure you will be doing that as well, with my Phoenix, and a KM hookah is what I'm using, Tristan. So thinking about you already. Trying to see if there's anything in the chat that I may be missing. Akeem says that he's using foil tonight, but he has used his HMD a lot lately. Akeem, since you're using your HMD more, what have you noticed the difference of? I'd love to hear your thoughts about that. Alchemist, you can definitely taste the tobacco notes. The only tobacco from Alchemist that I've tried is the KFC, and the KFC definitely has a little bit of that tobacco taste to it. I don't know about the regular ones. You've tried a few of the stout and regular lines from Alchemist.
Yeah.
Adrian, is there a pretty good tobacco taste to it?
I haven't noticed a tobacco taste with the original line so much. I've noticed a pretty good tobacco taste with the stout line, because they do use a burley leaf. It's not like I noticed from the KFC, but it's definitely there.
Also, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. What was I going to say? Somebody said something about Tangiers, and I lost what I was going to say, so my apologies. Some of the other cool stuff that we have coming up in the future. So not in the future, but as of right now, as you guys are watching, you know that this is on YouTube, obviously, but we're also on the audio stream as well. We're in a couple of places. One of the places that you can find us is obviously iTunes. If you just search AM Hookah, you can also find us on the Google Play Store, and then you can also find us on a new podcast audio app called Anchor. You can get it on your phone, iOS or Android, and it's called Anchor. And you can find us by searching AM Hookah, and it's kind of set up like a radio show. Have you messed around much with Anchor, Adrian?
Not so much. I just know that Anchor is a place people do podcasts.
Yeah.
That's about the extent of my knowledge.
You can tune into a channel, and then you can sit there and listen to it. And as you're listening to it, you're getting, different stuff that fills into it. So it's kind of set up like a radio show where you turn it on, you listen to it, and it seems like it's broken into segments, and it breaks it up a little bit. So if you're having a long day and an hour can go by like that, it's kind of nice to have something break it up a little bit so it lasts a little bit longer sometimes. Akeem says, with foil, I get more flavor than when I use my HMD. So that's interesting. A little bit different than what we were talking about, obviously. But yeah, that's everybody is entitled to their opinions. And then Bracken says, I find that when I get the most flavor out of Tangiers, the clouds are there. And I think that's kind of where we landed on. When you get that perfect balance between flavor and clouds, everything feels good. So you're happy to have a good session with the flavor, and then your clouds just kind of fit into place right there. So it's perfect in the way that it sets itself up in a lot of ways, I feel. Is there any podcasting places that you would like us to see in the future? I haven't brought this up too many times, Adrian, but I've thought about there's a way that we can have a live go on live in Facebook, along with YouTube. I don't know if we're going to ever do that necessarily, but it is something that I've thought about, maybe putting it in like the Hookah Lounge or something like that, or Hookah Enthusiast or something, and chilling there while we do the show on YouTube, and then also doing it inside of Facebook as well. Obviously, to get as many people to be a part of the show as possible, because that's what we do. Is we're trying to interact with you guys in the community and be a part of it and talk to you guys. So any way that we can get more eyes onto the show, I hope you guys are sharing the show and talking about the show and telling other people to take a listen to the show. We'd obviously appreciate that a ton. And we're always interested in hearing feedback, criticism, and all that sort of stuff as well. So I don't know. What else you got, Adrian?
Now, I think you covered it as far as those plugs go. If anyone has anything they would like a podcast to be dedicated to, let us know, because we'll pretty much talk about anything hookah related, honestly.
Yeah. Always looking for topics of conversation. We're doing our best to get some like kind of like very isolated and thought-provoking type conversations. You know, cloud output versus flavor output are pretty precise in what it is we're looking for. When it comes to something a little bit larger scale, like the Tangiers episodes that we're going to try and put together, we're going to be talking about everything Tangier. So that's going to be a very, very large scope show, obviously focused on one thing. But if there's ideas that you guys have, be it hoses, bowls, I mean, we've done a bowl episode, obviously in the season stuff that we did, so I wouldn't mind doing another bowl episode as well, just because there's always more stuff to talk about when it comes to bowls, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Bracken said that he's so ready for the Tangiers episode. We are too. We are definitely ready for the Tangiers episode. We've talked about it many times before. Tangiers is probably both of our pretty close to being our favorite tobacco, I would say. Would you agree, Adrian?
Yeah. I think a lot of people fall into that trap after smoking for long enough.
For sure. Let's see. Is there anything that I am missing from the chat before we say goodbye? I don't think so. Gus is here. Gus, hey, how's it going? That'd be pretty dope. Would love to share that on Facebook side of things as well, and leave a YouTube link and the Twitter feed. That'd be awesome. Gus, thank you always so much for sharing. We appreciate it all the time. Have you got in contact with Gus yet, Adrian? I know that you guys were going to hook up maybe one of these times.
Yeah, we've been talking a bit. He actually was nice enough to give me some feedback on the Pipeline episode, so we were talking a little bit. I've got a few events coming up locally for some hookah work stuff I'm doing. There was supposed to be one last weekend, but it didn't happen because of lack of advertising from the perspective of the company that I'm working with. So it's going to be this weekend. So I'll hit you up with more info on that later, guys.
Ooh, J-Rock says do a Fantasia episode of the F series line. Have you tried any of the F series stuff?
No, I watched both Zach from Strictly Shisha and J-Nug from Hookah Nugga do the entire, if it's what I'm thinking of, the 7 flavors that they don't actually list what they are. Some of the newest stuff. I watched them do it, so I know some stuff about it, but no, I haven't tried it myself.
Fantasia would be an interesting one to do a show of. I don't really want to smoke anymore Fantasia, to be completely honest with you. I'm just not into that world of my wanting of smoking. But they have tried some stuff that are interesting. Like they did the, what was that dark leaf one they did? It was called the, the Casarello?
Castrato?
Castrato,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
And then they did the F series. Obviously, they're trying to step up their game. It seems like, and I could be completely wrong, they try really hard and don't really succeed all that well, is what it sounds like. I don't know.
It's what it feels like, unfortunately. One thing I'd like to talk a little bit about, because I feel that this is a actual good tobacco that people start with, and this might be polarizing, but I'd love to talk about just OG Starbuzz. Like not vintage, not serpent. Just talk about some Starbuzz, because I don't think you don't smoke it anymore, I'm pretty sure.
No.
But I think it's a good point of conversation for people who might be newer to the hobby.
And I think, obviously we both badly want to do a Blue Mist episode, and that'd be a great reason to talk about Blue Mist, obviously. So
it's just the best flavor available on the market. I mean, how are you gonna smoke hookah and not have 6-7 kilos of Blue Mist on deck at all times? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Everybody in this chat, I really hope you guys have tried Blue Mist. That is a must in the world of hookah, in my opinion. It's like double apple. It is like Nakla double apple is what Starbuzz Blue Mist is. Am I overreacting a little bit?
No, you just mix a little bit of Nakla double apple and the Blue Mist, and you got yourself the best mix ever.
Ever. I started with 360 of all things, so Starbuzz was all right to get. I used to be good. I'm not sure what Bracken is talking about right there, but he used to be good. Oh, he used to be good. That's what he forgot the T. He forgot the T. Sorry about that. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us here on it, on the AM Hookah podcast. I think we've had a pretty fun show. Every Monday, about 5:30 Idaho time, 7:30 Detroit time, and 4:30 Tam time. So make sure you guys join us live. Listen to the show after the fact and share it all that you possibly can. The more people we can get into the chat, the more fun this is going to be. You know, we've had 10 people in the chat quite a few times now, and it's been a blast, obviously. So I'd love to see that number round up. And then big news for everybody. I don't know if you noticed, Adrian, we now have 50 subs to the show.
Yeah, what the? I thought it was going to freeze at like 10. I'd have been fine with that. But 50 people, that's pretty cool. What's up, 50 people?
Super, super exciting. Thank you guys so much for joining us for the ride. Everybody here is obviously a part of the Super Friends group. Bracken, you showed up just in time to be a part of that Super Friends group as well. Akeem, the original Super Friend, obviously. And then everyone else, thank you guys so much for joining us. Tristan, J-Rock, Sid, as always, Gus, and Jessica, thank you guys for joining us as always. Rob was in here for a little while. I think he probably took off. But anyone that did join us, thank you so much. And if you are watching this after the fact, obviously none of the awesome comments from the live stick around. But if you are watching it during the regular, rerun of the show, please make use of that comment section down below and let us know what you guys are thinking, feeling, and what you guys are smoking as well while you're watching. Until next time, guys, I guess this is it. So goodbye.